Well, better late than never, guys. I finally got to see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse this week, buying it on Blu-ray when it came out, and unfortunately I didn't get to see it in December when it came out in theaters, but this movie blew me away so much, I just want to share my thoughts on it, coming up right after this. What is up, my friends? Ride the Movie Guy here. Thank you for joining me. I'm talking today about a movie that came out about 3 months ago, and that is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I just saw this movie finally, and I can't tell you how much I love this movie. And coming from me, I'm the type of person that's a little biased when it comes to animated films. I tend to be more for a lot of Disney's features because I love Disney, and I feel, in my opinion, when it comes to their animated features, they make fantastic films. And this one is made by Sony, and it's a Marvel Comics animated movie, a big feature for Spider-Man. And I gotta tell you, this movie blew me away, and I could not stop thinking about it afterwards. It's just an incredible world, visually, storyline-wise. You get a feel of all the characters, and I just want to tell you my little thoughts on this movie and how I hope we see more of the superhero movies. If we get more animated films, I hope they're just like this. Now, I know everyone that's seen this movie already knows the story, but if you haven't, the story primarily revolves around Miles Morales, one of the few Spider-Mans we haven't really seen on the big screen. And it starts off with his relationship with his parents and his uncle and how he lives his day-to-day life in high school. Eventually shows how he got bitten by the radioactive spider and became his version of Spider-Man, eventually stumbling upon Wilson Fisk, which is Kingpin, and how he's created this contraption to enter other parallel worlds. And his pretty much mission is to go back and try to find a way to save his wife and child that died from a previous tragic accident. First thing what I have to praise are the visuals of the film. They are stunning, and not just for the look of it, but how they were able to transition from a comic book to an animated feature film. They've tried this before with the Hulk 2003. Didn't really go the way we thought it would. With this movie, they did it right, and they do everything from having little thought blocks when you see in comic books of what the characters are having their inner thoughts, to having the certain fight sequences, and when characters are, say, yelling or they hit the ground, you see the sound come to life in words in a comic book. Same thing happens in the movie. It's movies bursting with color and life and so many little details in the background when they're talking about certain characters or the action sequences. You even get little glimpses of actual comic books in the movie with the pages turning. So aside from the storyline, which is amazing, the visuals are alone fantastic. The second and the third thing I loved about this movie were the characters and the overall moral of the story. I love how they have all these different Spider-Mans come together from different universes. My favorite Spider-Man is probably Spider-Man Noir. I'm not too really familiar with that comic book, but I just loved how he's all black and white, having that detective look from the 1930s, kind of like from the old film noir films of the 1930s and 40s. And I love all the other characters you get to see. You got Aunt May, you got Miles Morales' parents, his uncle, you get Kingpin, Mary Jane, and you just see all these characters come to life, and with such great voice talent too. You get Nicolas Cage, who does Spider-Man Noir, and you get Mahershala Ali, Haley Stanfield, Liev Schreiber, just so many good actors. I just love the moral of the story too, that pretty much anyone can be Spider-Man, or in our case, in the real world, anyone can be a hero, regardless of your sex or your ethnic background. And they make it obvious with the characters in this movie. You get different girls that are Spider-Man. You get Miles Morales, which he's black, Hispanic. I just love that's how we can relate to this movie, being that anyone can be a hero regardless of who or what you are. I don't really have anything bad to say about this movie, to be honest. This is, if anything, one of the best animated films, and I just hope we see more of them in the future. I do notice when I was watching reviews back in December when this movie came out, especially for Chris Stuckman, I saw his review, and he did say about Kingpin how you don't really see much of a presence in him in the movie, and you don't get to know his character as much as everyone else. And that's true. You don't really get to know him, but as he said in his review, that would kind of oversaturate the movie because there's so many other characters that you don't really need that as much, because all you need to know is what Kingpin is setting out to do, which you do get to know that. So you get a little bit of feel of his past and where he came from, why he's doing what he's doing. Otherwise, this movie is just amazing, and I'm hoping for a sequel. I'm pretty sure there is. Sony has done a great job, and from their past times trying to make Spider-Man movies, they weren't really successful. I just hope that if they're going to continue making Spider-Man films, and of course they're associated with Marvel's Disney and how they're making their version of Spider-Man, I hope that they can still go this route and still continue to make good movies, whether it be that type of animation or the MCU Spider-Man that they've made. But like I said, guys, better late than never. I'm glad I finally got to see this movie. Tell me in the comments below if you loved it as much as I did, if you want them to make a sequel to this movie. Make sure to click on that like button. Make sure to click on that subscribe button to hear more reviews from me in the future. I do plan on doing Dumbo's review coming up next week when that comes out. But in the meantime, this is Rye the Movie Guy saying, see you at the movies.